probably about 11 lakh engineering degrees are given every year to young individuals. Less than 50% of them get jobs. You can't solve a problem sitting remotely.
Absolutely.
You have to go and experience it. You understanding what a customer requires is something that is not an easy mindset change that happens.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Sales Algorithm Podcast. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest, Professor Krishnan, professor in the Mechanical Engineering Department of IIT Madras. A brief background: Professor Krishnan is not just an academic, he is an institution builder, a startup creator, a mentor to some of India's most exciting deep tech companies, and a true pioneer in his field. With over 33 years of experience in non-destructive evaluation, Professor Krishnan has been at the forefront of research, innovation, and industry transformation. Prolific researcher, he has authored over 480 technical publications, filed 30 patents, and mentored 25 PhD students and 49 MS students. His groundbreaking work has earned him prestigious accolades, including the Roy Sharpe Prize from the British Institute for NDT, the Abdul Kalam National Technology Innovation Fellowship in 2018, and the Lifetime Achievement Award from IIT Madras. Beyond academia, Professor Krishnan has played a crucial role in incubating several successful startups, including Dhwani Research, Detect Technologies, Hyperverge, Solinas Integrity, and many more, driving innovation in NDT robotics and AI-based inspection solutions. So, hi, Dr. Krishnan. Welcome to the Sales Algorithm Podcast. It is truly an honor and a privilege to have you on the show.
The privilege and honor is mine, sir. Lovely chatting with you.
Okay, great. I remember just to bring the context back. Many years back, my elder son Kshitij, introduced me to you while he was involved in the investment with Detect Technologies, one of your startups. That's how we linked up, and it was a great time. I think I visited IIT and also met you. And eventually, soon after that, the younger son Shashwat started, interning with you.
So both the sons were brilliant, and we had the great honor of learning along with them. So thank you.
Great. And I'm sure both of my sons have really had the pleasure of meeting and learning from you. More so Shashwat, because he was doing a complete intern under you, and he always talks a lot about you, and even now he keeps telling about what all you do, and so it's been really inspiring, sir, talking to you and working with you. So if you can start with your journey, your academic journey. What brought you to IIT Madras, and what were your kind of aspirations? So you can just start with that.
So obviously, I came back to IIT Madras on the early morning of February 1st of 2000. Prior to that, of course, I spent about 16 years in the US. That includes getting your master's and PhD at Drexel University in Philadelphia. Subsequently, I did a bit of postdoctoral work and spent about 9 years working in the US as a faculty. Now, along the way, I've been coming frequently to India, and every time I used to come, give some talks at some of the national centers. And along the way, I happened to collect a few very good well-wishers. And one of the important well-wishers was a person called Dr. Baldev Raj. And Dr. Raj was that time at the Indira Gandhi Center and of Atomic Research in Kalpakkam. And then around 1997 or 98, I forget, I got a call from IIT Madras saying that there is a plan to see if the Center for Non-Destructive Testing can be established at IIT Madras, and the proximity to IG Car was certainly one of the reasons. But also there is a need for looking at advanced research, particularly academia-based advanced research in this particular area. And since you've been talking the talk, is there a chance that you'll walk the talk? Right. So that kind of was the thing. And either 98, it was definitely 98. And then around 99, I came, I spent a little bit of time here. And so that kind of prompted me to come back. And one of the things I did was I basically said I should not have any temptation to go back to US. And so we actually sold a house, put everything in a big container. And then we were here in 2000. And so I kind of started the center, and very fortunate. Things went very well, and within a year we got the center up and running. In fact, just about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, on April 20th, almost a month ago now, I forget. Okay, we celebrated our 25th anniversary of our Center for Non-Destructive Academia.
Fantastic.
Okay, so we had the pleasure of hosting more than 250 well-wishers in that function. And so we were thrilled to, that we have completed 25 years. And although it is 25 years, and on one side it might seem long, I must say that it looks, I can't believe that we have spent 25 years already. Thank you.
Amazing, sir. What a journey. Absolutely amazing. 25 years. And you're saying it just seems like yesterday. So that's more amazing. That means so involved you were with your work and with your, what you were pursuing. That's truly amazing. So you are widely regarded as a pioneer of non-destructive testing in India. Just for the benefit of our viewers, can you explain in layman terms what is this non-destructive testing? Why does it matter, and where does it show up in our everyday lives?
Sure, absolutely. The easiest way to give you a perspective is that all of us go to diagnostic clinics and get ourselves X-rayed, ultrasound, MRI, CT. These are all methods by which you look inside your human body and look for things that should be there, but is not, or should not be there, and it is, right? Whether it's a tumor, whether it's a fracture. Now, think about it. When you came to work today, you must have taken a bus, you may have taken a scooter, or you may have taken a four-wheeler, a train, or a plane, right?
Yeah.
Each of these vehicles have probably a few thousand components, right? From the wheel to the shaft, to the brakes, to the engine, to the valves, to even what you sit on. All of them are engineered components that make the vehicle move.
Correct.
Now, just the way your human body is either imperfect, or even if it's perfect when you're young, as you use your body over the years, you get imperfections, you get fatigue, you get minute cracks that eventually can lead to a larger crack. Stress fractures, as they qualify for athletes, is a very good example. So very similar, every engineered material, whether it's made of metals, ceramics, polymers, they all have tendency to develop problems over the life. So whether it is during manufacturing or during the use, you need to find out what is the state of it. Just the way you go and examine your body, every component which is critical needs it, right? And that's exactly what we do. We use same ultrasound, we use the same X-rays, we use same electromagnetism, infrared, to look inside the material and find out if there is something that is anomalous about it. And this means that we contribute to the quality of the manufacturing, when it is manufacturing, and then the reliability when it is being used, which means that we don't want, like suddenly you're driving in the middle of a road and suddenly the axle fails, or brake fails, and then, we just don't want such situation. So can I see it early, just the way you do for your human body? Can I find it early? And can I take preventive steps before something bad can happen? Now, interestingly, there's more to it. We actually find that we can prolong the life of materials, which that means that you use less materials, or that means you are able to contribute to sustainability. You also find that some of the tools that we have also contribute to looking at how energy is being used either during manufacturing or during service of that component. So again, there, if I can understand what is going on inside, I can actually change the way you use it or the way the energy is being spent, and again you save material resources. So sustainability is the key driving factor, but we do it in a very engineering. Please, thank you.
Okay, so it's not only predictive maintenance, it's also kind of getting you some insights into its functioning.
Exactly. Okay. During manufacturing, we provide lots of insights. During service, it's about life extension and prevention of any catastrophic issues.
Great, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I want to ask you, you mentioned 25 years you started off, and it's 25 years since you've been in this line. What has actually changed from when you started to now? What kind of transitions have you gone through in this business? You are doing the kind of problems you're solving. What are the kind of problems you're solving? Can you tell us something on some interesting problems you're solving these days?
Okay, so to answer the first part of the question, lots have changed. Okay, I don't know if you remember, when I came here, cell phones was something that was almost hardly anybody had it.
Correct.
And everybody has cell phones. So things have changed. So what has really changed is, of course, technology. Right?
Yes.
Access to technology, access to computational power. So whether it is for data analysis or for simulation modeling that we are very, very, into as academics, all of that has become so easy to do. Of course, I don't have to say that AI is, becoming literally omnipresent today, right? So, but it was there even when we started. We used to call it artificial neural networks, right? But then we didn't have the kinds of transformer models that you're seeing today. Although we've been seeing that come into the picture. So today we are seeing that technology is become a phenomenal enabler.
Absolutely.
And so that is driving our research to some extent. Second is also allowing us to spend more time where we can actually ideate, we can explore, and actually analyze the data better. Because some of the mundane, processes that we used to waste our time on, that is now taken care of by technology. So, so it really makes us more effective and efficient. And in fact, to my students, if a student comes and asks me, should I use AI or not? My answer to the student is absolutely, please use AI to the maximum extent. But then tell me, what can you do over and above that?
Yeah.
And that is the challenge that we have, because some of the things which was very satisfying to me, today it gets done by AI in like 5 minutes. What took me 3 days to do, it's done in 5 minutes. So now the question I have is, what more and how can we add value on top of it, right? And we are all discovering mechanisms to do that. So with regards to what are the problems that we are solving, so one of the things that we differentiate ourselves is that we do a lot of fundamental research that go into journal publications, but we also work very closely with the industry to see if any of those can be used towards solving an industry problem. So our center works very closely with about 25 to 30 industries. Today we have about 10 industry advisors who have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, who are a part of our lab. And that gives us a very different insight into the problems that industry has and how we address these problems sometimes from a very fundamental perspective, taking all the way to a solution, or sometimes take a technology that is done or used somewhere else and can adapt it or adopt it to that particular solution. So this problem solving has been something that we're working very closely with across the platform. We're working very closely with a lot of the oil and gas industries. We're working with the infrastructure industries, working with the manufacturing industries, the aerospace and defense, nuclear and other energy, industries. So we do have a wide portfolio of industries and problems that we're solving. And that kind of keeps us very, that's why I said the 25 years went very fast, because we were so busy solving problems that we didn't, time is passing by.
Wonderful, sir. I think you have set the context right, that the taking the problem from the industry, that's the most important thing. Research can always happen in a silo. You just can't say that I'm researching on a topic, but unless you bring the context from the actual problem that is happening in the industry, you are not really solving any problem. So that's wonderful, sir. So you have built a remarkable track record, Professor Krishnan, of taking research out of the lab and turning it into real companies that solve real world problems. Just now you said that. Now, when did you start thinking that the research can be productized? And when you look at productization of anything, there are a lot of other things also. Then you talk about the market, then you talk about the product market fit, then you have to involve the stakeholders who are the kind of the actual problem owners. And it's a big journey. I mean, you start from research, then you go on to make it a product, then you start with the stakeholders. So how does this whole cycle happen, and when do these stakeholders start getting involved in this process?
To get you started on the first part of the question, I was very fortunate that I was the graduate student of Professor Joseph L. Rose at Drexel University, who was an entrepreneurial faculty himself.
Okay.
So he actually used to make me, do some small things for his company. Right. And I would say some of the seeds of that started from him. And how you can manage professional career in academics, but at the same time, work with industry. In fact, he used to throw me into the fire on a regular basis because he was very fond of golf. And there'll be times when he'll call me and say, Krishnan, I have a golf tee time, so I'm going to be tied up. Why don't you go meet that industry and tell, handle the situation? Okay. So he often threw me into the fire, but I must say I was blessed because I learned a lot. Okay, I learned a lot. I learned how to meet people, I learned how to handle situations in a very quick fashion, because many times I would not even know what I'm supposed to go and talk. So I had to go, and my secretary will give you those days we used to have these transparencies. So she will give you the transparency, you go and handle it.
For making the presentations, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, and I had to go and figure out what those transparencies meant, so it's to that level. But definitely that was something that was a learning experience for me. And definitely in US, when I became faculty, I also worked on some, US has a very nice program called SBIR, Small Business Innovation Research Program. So I worked some of those programs. And so when I came back to India, of course, things were very different. Okay. So faculty starting a company was something that was unheard of, but one of the things that we have been very, as I said earlier, focused is that we want to work with industry and solve industry problems. So once we know that industry wants something deeply, then and if for by effort and luck we are able to actually satisfy that need, then you have a product or a solution that could necessarily be looked at from either a tech transfer approach, which means that we take the technology and we sort of transfer it to any of the company and say, you run with it, you develop it further, and you see how to use it. which is something that again was a process that was something we learned in NIT Madras over the last 15, 20, 30 years. But the other option, of course, is see, can you run with it yourself? Okay. So that depends on what the technology is and who we are addressing the technology for. And once you do that, it becomes easy for you to say whether I'm going to do a tech transfer or maybe a possible startup. We'll talk about startups, I'm sure, in a minute or two. But that's kind of a transition. But the core to all of that is that we have an industry client who says, I want this, and this is helping me, it's giving me an ROI, and that means that I will buy from you, or I'll buy the technology, or buy either as a product or a solution or a technology. So that was very critical for us. So every one of our things is driven by an industry requirement, and that helps us to make sure we address a problem.
Absolutely. Well said. I think you had these early adopters, as they call it in the industry. Those you kind of, you had them right from the day one. So they were the owners of the problem. They gave you the problem, and they were there with you to help, test the solution also. So that is
absolutely. In fact, one of the things I must say is many of our real solutions have come when the industry has put one or two people with us and sat on with us and gone through the learning process. Okay, a little bit of patience is required. Okay, but they have actually worked with us. I've had guy from Krishnan from Indian Southern Railway who was in our lab for about 2 years.
Oh.
Okay, I mean, literally, he was working in Southern Railway, but literally deputed him. We have a Tarun Mishra from Reliance who was sitting in our lab for 2 years developing a product with us. So
probably ordered him an MS degree also.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, Krishnaswamy never, applied for MS degree from us, but he was so important for us to solve very critical problem of inspection of railway rails, right? And so
involvement, actually speaking,
yeah, absolutely. So the involvement of the industry is equally important for a solution to really get to a point where they can use it. And also what happens is they actually take it back and they make sure it is deployed because they have an ownership. And that's equally important.
Correct.
So we've been very successful and very fortunate to have a lot of industries who A, trust us, B, who actually believe and we are patient that over 2 years or 3 years, a solution that exists nowhere can be developed, and that has been our forte, but also our been very lucky.
Fantastic. That's the trust of the industry in you and your own trust in your team and your research. That speaks a lot, actually. Now, what really fascinates me, sir, is that you seem to have done this not once, not twice, but repeatedly. It looks like you have a templated path.
Unfortunately, it gets ahead of you, and then before you know it, you are a little out of control.
I've also been in this industry a lot, and I've seen that most researchers stay in the lab. Most ideas don't make it to the market. So, your path has been so, I hear you already that you involve the industry so much, from the owning of the problem to the testing of the solution to, finally letting you know that, okay, this is really working. This is something that is really working. I can see how much involvement is there in both parties, the owner of the problem as well as the problem solver. And this is what makes the difference, I think. Yeah. Do you have anything more to say on that?
Okay. Absolutely. See, one of the things that I believed in very much, and make sure that every one of my students and people who work with me believe in, is that you can't solve a problem sitting remotely.
Absolutely.
You have to go and experience it. And I can tell you, the first time I went for rail inspection, I said, well, how are you guys doing it? So I said, can I join you? I have no idea what I got myself into. Okay. 1 hour with them. I ran to it was so hot, so difficult. At the end of the hour, I had to run to the station, took cold Bisleri water and poured over my head. So, and that actually told me how difficult it is to do the inspection on the track, because in the track, because of the radiation from those gravel, the temperature is about 10 degrees more than the ambient temperature. So if ambient temperature is like 38 or 39, you are feeling about 50 degrees when you're on the track. So these guys, these gangmen who are doing it, you have a new appreciation for them. You have a new appreciation for the problem. And I have done that. I've crawled under aircrafts. I've gone inside, the hull of multiple ships, whether merchant navy ship or navy ships. I've gone up the storage tank, which is about 25 meters high. And the first time I went, they say, "Prof, can you climb this?" I said, "Damn it, if you can climb it, I can do it too." Right. So the point is, we want to make sure we understand and experience the problem. Only then I have a shot at even trying to solve the problem. If I create a problem and without understanding that, what will happen is that it will go there and it will never work. Because you have to understand the weather, the temperature, the hostility of the situation, the fact that the guy is actually hanging with his life with one hand, and he has to operate the instrument with only one hand that he has got, and he's been he's got a harness on him also. So these realities have to be plugged into your solution.
Absolutely.
And that is something that we differentiate ourselves from. And that's why we're able to repeatedly, at least make progress, whether we fully solve the problem or not. But often what happens is that we've been a little foolhardy in accepting things that we should not have accepted. But many times I can tell you that the final solution was something that I almost thought is never possible. Right? Many of the time you come to say this is not possible. So when he said, okay, let's not try to solve the full problem, let's do a little bit of solution. Right? Yeah. And then the little bit gives you confidence, and then you move small baby steps, and then suddenly at some point you find that, wait a minute, this problem can be solved. Okay. In some cases, we also found that the problem can be solved. It's not necessary to solve the entire problem, but provide a solution that actually satisfies the client. And you don't necessarily have to solve the problem as defined by them in the beginning. So there are, again, learning lessons. The learning lesson from us, the learning lesson from the client side. And that's been and every time we talk to anybody or we work with anybody, we learn a lot. And we learn a lot. We learn how to do things. We also learn a lot of how not to do things.
Great. Now, coming to a little different part, which is like the startups you have nurtured are now at various different stages of their journey. For example, Detect Technologies has quite grown well into a well-funded, internationally recognized company now. Dhwani is on its own exciting path. Now, as these companies, grow and mature, how does your role evolve with each of them? At which point do you kind of step back, or at what point maybe you also step in, for example? So can you say something on that?
So the analogy here is very simple. When a child is born, that's exactly where we are when we find. Usually most of our startups have started because we have found a client whose problem we have partially solved in the lab. Partially. Now, the problem in most cases is that it by itself is not sufficient for the client, because they would want to actually get it as a full product, which works every time the same way, right? And you done by somebody who is not a super specialist, right? An operator or somebody. So how do you? So that is where the startup comes in. Okay, where you instead of making it work right the first time, you actually make it right every time. So that needs a little different mindset. So one of the things that we have been, as I said, we already have a problem that we have got some solution. Now the next thing that is important is to have one or two entrepreneurial students. Okay, so we have been fortunate. We've been fortunate that we've had students, especially in the early stages when even IIT Madras was trying to discover itself. And we have been the first. Dhwani was the first, probably the first company that came out of the IIT system into the incubation in 2010. And subsequently, Detect Planis came up. There's a company called Planis came out in 2015, and Detect was a 2016 company. Now, all of them, the key ingredient are entrepreneurs who are willing to sacrifice their career and say that I want to do something different. I want to be on the receiving side or the employer side rather than the employee side. Now, we do have some criteria of how what makes you an entrepreneur. So one of the things I always challenge my students is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because I know that entrepreneurship or a startup goes through extremely difficult cycles. So at that time, I want to remind you why you actually started this, and give me a very good sacrifice, at least a minimum one sacrifice. Have you sacrificed an MBA in Kellogg? Have you sacrificed a girlfriend? Have you sacrificed, sure, right?
All are difficult, sir.
Yes. So if you are sacrificed, then I'm sure you stick on, because one of the biggest and the most valuable trait of an entrepreneur is persistence.
Fantastic.
And if you don't have that in you, you are not going to succeed. Right.
The same thing was said by another founder of Persistent Systems, Dr. Anand Deshpande.
Anand.
I said, coming from you, Anand, it is a no-brainer.
Absolutely, yes.
You talk about one of your students, Daniel Raj David. Sir, I think he had everything. He had a girlfriend. He still ran the company. He married his girlfriend. I found out the girlfriend was from IIT Chennai Times. She was doing some psychology or something. So, it was not really sacrifice. I want to say that.
No, actually, no, to be honest with you, that's not true. Daniel did sacrifice. Right.
Achha.
Daniel actually sacrificed. He had an offer of from Michigan State. Yeah, so they all sacrifice something. As I told you, if they don't sacrifice, you don't meet my criteria.
Sure, sir. I work very closely with Dan. I know what his commitment was. In fact, of the 4 founders of Detect, I had the fortune to work with Daniel a bit, and really I saw this kind of dream in his eyes, which definitely took him to where he is today. I was just joking about his girlfriend. I recently came to know about a couple of years back that he got married to the same girl, and I was like, once he called me for lunch at Chennai when I was in Chennai, and I met both of them. I said, well, Daniel, you never told me that an affair was brewing when you were in the college.
Well, fortunately, he's been a bit more candid with me, so so I have had a pleasure meeting them together many times.
Lovely journey with you, sir, and also I think all of them are doing well, and great.
Amazingly well.
Yeah. So that's precisely my next question. You answered part of it. Now, the process from research to startup can be templated, but the human beings in the center of each of these are all completely different. Now, you must have really worked with different personalities, different strengths, different blind spots. That must have been quite a difficult diversity to address. So, what kind of mentoring style did you bring with each founder? Can you draw parallels to mentoring PhD students? For example, you have had so many PhD students under you. I mean, each of them had a different mindset. So, how was this journey as compared to that? If you want to draw some parallels, or you want to talk something on this.
There is no playbook with this, because no two individuals are the same. So even within the same startup, you say Daniel versus Hari versus Tarun. Extremely very different people, different. So I would say that first of all, you have to build trust with each other. And once you build trust, that makes things a lot easier. And so I've had entrepreneurs who were undergrad students, master students, PhD students, and even of late, even postdoctoral fellows, or even people who are coming back after several years in the industry, and we work with them. Right. So there is, as I said, no playbook, but it is again persistence. We go through ups and downs, but the whole idea is the metamorphosis of an individual from where they are crawling to where they start to walk, run, and then maybe even try to fly. That is the journey that is very exciting from my point of view. Right. It is very satisfying. At the same time, I of course learn every day from interacting with every one of these guys. And so it's been a remarkable journey, and as you rightly put it, no two of these have been similar. Okay, so there is no playbook. The only playbook is patience, trust, and belief that we can do things differently. We can work together and make a change in the perception of everybody else, that a product that's coming from a lab in Chennai can solve a problem, say in Houston or in the North Sea, or in somewhere in Africa. Okay, so that is the belief that we have, and belief stems from the fact that we now started to have a track record. We had a lot of disbeliefs when we started, say in 2010, but today we do believe that we have that we can do things differently, and we can do things that matter and create a huge value proposition, which as an industry, most of our activities are B2B. So there is a phenomenal belief that we can satisfy the requirements of an industrial client and create a value proposition that they will bet on.
Right. Great, sir. So the next one is kind of close to my heart, and frankly, it is what led me to write my book, The Sales Algorithm. In my experience, working with early stage startups and founders, they are so deeply in love with the problem they are solving that sales almost always takes a backseat. Now, the assumption is that if you build something great, customers will come, but you and sir, I also know that that is rarely true. Now, from your vantage point, having seen so many startups up close, how do you think, how prepared are today's deep tech founders for the reality of sales, business development, and building a network? And what do you think needs to change? Do you see this among the founders?
Yeah, so the answer is absolutely not, to be honest with you. If anything, see, particularly deep tech, your technology passion overrules everything, right? And hence, you understanding what a customer requires is something that is not an easy mindset change that happens. So you are saying that I am going to make this, and you go and plug and check and make this, put in money, somebody else's money or your money, year, 2 years, 1 year. At the end of the day, does it really satisfy somebody who will pay for it, who will buy it? That's the first step. So you need to make sure that whatever you're making is something that somebody will buy. Okay. But in our case, as I said, when we are doing B2B, many of the problems start because the client comes and says, I have this problem. But then many times there's another important aspect that every one of us realize, and it seems to be learning again and again, is the fact that the ROI calculations is the only thing that drives an industry to buy and pay money and buy in.
Correct.
Right. Now, it is very difficult for a young person to actually understand what this ROI means. It's like, so if, for instance, even for me, often each industry has a different ROI. We are looking at ROI differently. So many times we say, hey, I've solved your problem. I mean, this is brilliant. Fantastic to look at this. It's working better than anything else. And the client says, yeah, fantastic. It is like, you give me a Mercedes. Well, I'm looking only for a bullock car, right? or a two-wheeler, right? So it just absolutely doesn't work for me. So now you have to start looking at it and saying, how do you make it cost effective? How do you make it? You have to look at, okay, how do I install it? All right. Many times, fantastic, but you install it, there's no way to even go inside and install it. All right. Survivability. So you are trying to solve a problem, but that problem should not create another problem, which is bigger than the original problem. Okay. So I remember that we were doing some work for the the Air Force, and we said we'll give you a fantastic tool which will tell you that if the engine is going to fail in the next 5 minutes, we will tell you 5 minutes before that engine is going to fail. And the pilot told me, please do not tell me that the engine is going to fail in 5 minutes. Okay, I don't want to know that. I want to know when I'm in the ground, something will happen when I fly. But when I'm flying, I don't want to know that something is going wrong with my engine. Okay, so it's a very different perspective. So how do you capture that perspective? Right. Only then your solution has a chance of succeeding. So it's got to be cost effective. It has to be implementable. It has to be maintainable. You cannot have something that will fail and then it will take you 3 months to replace it or something. It has to be. Yeah.
I think my experience, I think we need to juxtapose all this along with the cost of the problem.
Yes.
Now, that's very important. The cost of the problem that the customer is having. First thing is, are you going to continue with this problem? How serious is it? What will happen 12 months down the line if you're still with this problem? So this juxtaposition is very important. So then, the ROI gets more meaning. This is my experience normally.
Absolutely. That's why I said ROI is a different ball game for every industry.
Correct.
And so just because you solved an ROI or you have figured an ROI for aerospace, you go to automotive, it's a very different ROI.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, common sense thought process will be at odds with the reality of the situation.
Yes, absolutely. So another thing, in my talk with most of the founders, all of them agree that till a certain position in the company, let us call it, in one of the founders, Dr. Anand Deshpande's words, he calls it the orbit, the first orbit. According to him, the first orbit is the phase when the founder is a sales guy. I mean, there the founder has to be the sales guy, obviously, because he's the person who has devised the solution and he needs to sell it. Now, basic question here is, how prepared are these engineers coming from an institute like IIT Madras to do this kind of selling and bonding with people, networking? I know for a fact Daniel was brilliant in that, and Daniel loved to do it. Whether he had it inborn or innate, or whether he developed over time, I can't say that, but he was brilliant in it. But was it an exception, or what is your experience? Your work with so many companies.
So again, there is no one answer to that. Each individual is different.
Correct.
So as like with Daniel, it was easy to coach. It's like coaching Virat Kohli. All you need to do was to ask him, just don't not flash your blade when the ball is outside the off stump. Okay, apart from that, everything else taken care of. So you just need to do guidance. But there are others who you need to spend a little bit more time on it. Now, so selling as an entrepreneur has multiple facets to it. the first and important facet is you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself. You're selling your vision and idea.
Absolutely.
All right. And Daniel will be the first one to accept that it took us many iterations to get it right. Right. So then you start to sell your product or your solution.
Correct.
In fact, in between, you're probably selling your company also.
Yes.
People buy, especially whether it's B2B or B2C, people buy because they trust the company or the entity. So, so there is a difference between that and marketing. Okay.
Yes.
You can always hire a person for marketing. You can for branding. You can hire a company or somebody to do the branding. But this is way different from that.
Absolutely.
Actually, trying to convince people to believe in you and your vision and your. So that's a different thing. It takes a fair amount. I would say very few of them get it right in the beginning.
True. Absolutely. And we all know, I mean, a lot of people have told me, sir, that selling is not something that you learn in colleges or schools. For example, one of the podcasts I did with Dr. Ashok Porwar, he's a kind of a authority in finance, and he used like I am Ahmedabad professor for 10 years. He said, JK, I've never seen sales being taught at all in colleges or schools. Nowhere, no books, nothing. It's an experiential thing. So everybody learns from their own experience. And if you're lucky to have somebody, write about their experience, go and take that. Life is too short to learn from all your own experiences. You need to learn from other experiences as well. So absolutely right, sir, what you said. Selling is very different. And there is no intellectual property to it or intellectual thing to it. It is mainly an experience. What your experience has taught you in one instance or in one case, you take it around and, you make this thing out of it. Great. Now, coming to a little bit of a different part, which is like, technology. Now, since I've had the opportunity to work with Detect in the early days when they were looking to grow into the international market, I know back in 2019, they had offerings developed on cutting-edge technology like guided ultrasonics, computer vision, machine learning. Now, how do you see AI reshaping the technology and the deep tech landscape over the coming years? And what does that mean to the next generation of startups coming by?
I really wish I could give a great insight into this without asking AI to do it for me. So I think AI absolutely is a game changer today. Now, will it remain the same way later? Is something that I don't think any of us can
Correct.
forecast.
I agree.
Because, I mean, 1 year ago, if you had told me that I'll be using Claude or ChatGPT the way, and literally ChatGPT dictates what you think and what you do. In fact, ChatGPT, you asked today morning, should I eat this? Should I drink this? I don't think any of us even had a clue that was the way it's going to go. 1 year ago.
Absolutely.
So what is it going to be 1 year from today or 2 years from today is not something that I do not know. It's not going to be easy to predict. However, one thing is true is that these are enablers. These are tools. Nothing more than that today. AI has a potential to go beyond that. Maybe, when what they call the general intelligence becomes prevalent. But I do not know. There are different predictions on when that will happen. A year ago, if you asked me, I would have said another 25, 30 years, not before that. But I think that is being challenged now.
Correct.
So the question is, how do you use it? It's just not only AI. So you're talking of mechanizations like robotics that's going to come into picture. The amount of data that's available in such quick fashion today is something that we never even thought of having maybe even 2-3 years ago. So the connectivity, I mean, every day there are satellites being put up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The way you communicate is going to change dramatically in the next couple of years with all these satellites. Starlinks and so many others. So your communication is going to change dramatically. Your availability of data is going to change. How you even interact with data is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
How you're going to interact with each other is already changed. Okay.
Correct.
The same conversation would have it in person, but today we're having it here. I mean, think about it. Before COVID, none of these mechanisms were really thought as necessary.
Absolutely.
Right? But that has changed a lot. So I think there's going to be a huge change that's coming up. We have to adapt quickly to it. That is the key thing, and not resist it.
Yeah.
Right. So like for instance, when you talk in terms of education and training, it's even more question, because what am I educating them on? Right. Because knowledge is available at the palm. I don't need for you to learn something because that is available. Knowledge is already available, or information. So information is already available. Right, ready-made available. I don't need to read up and mug up a lot of material and keep it in my mind. So today, for you to go from information to knowledge and knowledge to action is where the humans are going to make a difference.
Very well said.
And how to do that and how to do it efficiently. So do not fight technology. Use it.
Absolutely.
Be an early adopter. Use it. And that will take care of any fears that you have on technology.
And kind of ride on the first mover success, kind of the first one to take care of it and all that stuff. But equally, sir, the flip side, we see a lot of AI startups closing down very quickly with so much advancement happening. So is there, I mean, I'm sure none of us have the answer, but with your experience, is there any mantra for making the startups last? Because this is something that things are changing so at a rapid pace. So just thought I should ask you.
So every technology, very well, goes through an S-curve, right? So everybody jumps on the bandwagon, okay, and often the betting happens with less due diligence. And,
yes.
And so obviously in everything there will be few survivors who will do very well, and then many of them will not survive. Right. And today, particularly if you look at, now when I say today, I'm last 15, 20 years, I give you, this is something that sort of is my personal thing, so don't take it in a generic way. But today, success of a startup or a business is how much money you have raised.
Yes.
Good. This is not what I have learned as a fundamental of business. In fundamental of business, they say you making a profit, you making an impact is what defines success.
Correct.
Now, if I say profit, I think 90% of the unicorns will want to make me disappear.
No
right?
trouble.
Yeah. So the fundamental of business seem to have changed, where you are looking at more eyeballs, or you're making more people logging in or working with your thing. Whether you make money at the end or not is not a necessary criteria. All right. And so that worries me a lot, because these are all leads to bubbles. And every 10 years or so, we have a big bubble that makes a lot of news and make a lot of people unhappy. The last big bubble we had was probably 2008, when the entire housing market collapsed. Right. And of course, there's enough evidence of what happened there. So this is something that, so AI probably will have a little bit of a bubble that's building up. All right. as I said, there will be casualties in any of these because we do not necessarily, there's some indiscrimination in how we go about doing it. But maybe there is also a pattern to these matters, right? Maybe this is the way to do things for all you know. Yes, you go with your eyes somewhat semi-closed. Okay, bet on 50 to survive. The two, go sky high. That's the way it works. And maybe the two will not be there if you didn't bet on 50.
Correct.
Okay, so there is a method to the madness in some cases, but what do you do with the casualties is always a problem. Okay, and if as long as it doesn't happen in a very short period of time to too many people, we can survive.
Yeah. That comes to my next question to you. During when I started doing this podcast, sir, I wanted to talk to a lot of startup founders on their journey. What I had in the back of my mind is, success stories are all over the place. People really don't talk about their failures. I wanted to take those failure lessons to the startup builders, how they faced failures and how they were resilient, how they came out of it. Now, this question is similar. Has any of your startup failed, and what lessons did you get from that? And if you want to share, of course.
Not a problem. Let me put it this way: we've been fortunate. All the startups that we have founded have survived and done reasonably well. Right now, does not mean that they were all easy journeys. There is a couple of them almost fell off the cliff.
Okay.
Due to various reasons, but I also mentor a lot of startups. Those are startups where I am not a founding member. I just help them.
Okay.
Right. And there I've seen failures. Okay. Failures are one of the biggest reasons I see failures is when the founding members don't have the same commitment towards the company as much as they have towards themselves.
Absolutely.
Right. So founding member discontent is one major where I've had one or two where companies that I've mentored have completely stop the company from functioning. Another example is another place where I find a big problem is they need to get the companies sometimes lose track of who are their well-wishers are,
right,
and who is not. There's a tendency, particularly in today's environment, to absolutely close your eyes and believe in the investor, story, rather than look at whether it makes sense or not. So we had situations where the investors have taken the company to either away from what their fundamentals were.
Absolutely.
All right. And that has hurt the company significantly.
Very well
Some
said.
actually take them and say, outside the country. Okay. And in the process, there have been severe learning lessons. Okay. So the judgment sometimes has suffered a bit because of the financial implications and the aura and the lure of money.
Yeah.
So one of the things, so whenever a founder comes and tells me, I want to make them a unicorn, I say you have zero chance of success.
Sure. Right? Absolutely. I completely agree. And many of the founders that I spoke to, they said, when you start this startup as a founder, you spend a lot of time on the why. It can't be just that I want to make money. And there are umpteen ways of.
It never works. It never works.
It never works.
Yes, because you have your priorities wrong. You are trying to make a difference. You are trying to solve a problem
Yes.
which nobody else dare to solve, or nobody solved it the way you are solving it. And there's a purpose, a mission, and a commitment.
Very well said.
And that, if you don't have that, I'm sorry, you are actually not the best person to start. Right. So almost all startups have to have a very deep commitment and a passion for addressing something that is not that needs addressing, and a pain point, right? And so that is something that's very difficult for us to teach.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So very well addressed this, sir. I mean, you have taken so all the perspectives, what happens when they get the money, what happens when they go out of the country. All these are realistic perspectives. Thank you for bringing that. Now, Professor Krishnan, you have achieved so much. You could have stepped back a long time ago. What still excites you? What gets you out of your bed in the morning? The same energy and curiosity that you had when you started. What is the unfinished work that still drives you?
So one of the problems that I have is that I have tough time saying no to people or problems. Right. Okay. So every day there's a new problem solution that a problem that needs a solution. So that has actually energized. In fact, my daughter told my wife and me about a couple of years ago or a year ago. She said, "Why are you guys still working? Why don't you retire?" Okay, and legitimately so, I would say that. Okay, and she said, "I don't need your money. I'm okay." So. So my wife and I look and say, if you retire, what will we do? I haven't figured that out yet.
Oh, okay.
When I figure that out, then probably I will look at retirement very seriously. But today, working with, say, one of the biggest learning as well as excitement that I have is I work with all the young guys.
Yes. Absolutely.
A lot of innocence in one sense, but a lot of energy in the other way. Right. And that fuels your process, yes. And you don't feel tired because you have somebody in your room always asking you, why don't we do this, or why are we doing this? So the entire enthusiasm that we are able to generate internally comes from these young guys that who are surrounding you. Yeah, so that's been my motivation to answer.
Fantastic, sir. Very well said. Now, this podcast reaches thousands of young founders and entrepreneurs across the country. Many of them are sitting in small rooms with big dreams, and many of them do not have access to institutes like the IITs. They don't have the access to the infrastructure. What do you have to tell them? They are outside the IIT ecosystem, you can say. How do you? What is your kind of advice to those aspiring?
So first, I want to say that most of the ecosystem is open to everybody.
Okay.
So our ecosystem is 100% open to everybody, which is true for most ecosystems. All right. So do not perceive that because it's an IIT Madras incubation cell or a sign in Bombay, you are not welcome there. In fact, more than 50% of the participants are non-IITians.
Very interesting.
So there is no reason for you to. So do not get into that frame of mind. Right. At the end of the day, any idea and every idea requires a clear path and also an opportunity to be looked into. Right. Sure. For instance, we have the Gopalakrishna Deshpande Center.
Yes.
Today, we are we are working with about 170, 180 institutions across India, academic institutions across. Right. And if you ask me how many of the participants are from IIT Madras, I would say today probably 5 to 6%.
Oh, wow.
So 90% are from outside, and some of them, and whether it is from Assam, Jammu, Kashmir, or Ladakh, all the way to Kanyakumari in the south. We have Tirunelveli in the south. We have participants. We have participants from Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 institutions. We have
Okay.
participants from medical colleges. We have participants from business schools. We have participants from, liberal arts and science colleges.
It's very impressive.
Opportunity is not restricted by
Okay.
where you are or who you are. It is how good is your idea. Okay, how bold are you? How brave are you? How big is the idea?
Yes.
And how much passion you're willing to and sacrifice you're willing to go back to sacrifice.
Mm.
Okay. Doing a startup is not easy.
Correct.
It is not also the right thing for 95% of the people.
Yes.
Or 90%. Okay. Just getting a job, having a great career is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So only a few people who cannot feel happy doing that and want to do something little different and want to make an impact. This makes sense because it's going to be an easy ride. Okay. So how do you handle the downs is more important than how you handle the highs, which is also something.
Absolutely well said, sir.
So this is it's not easy. So definitely, I would say, and it's okay to fail. That's one good thing about it, is okay to fail.
These exact words came from two brothers who were founders in a company. One of them said, startup is not a bed of roses. The other said, it's okay to fail. Exactly one after the other. These two sentences came. And this is absolutely true. I mean, failure should not have any stigma to it. It is okay to fail. Take it as a learning.
Either you come back, do another one, or you go and get a job. Nothing wrong with that. You tried. Okay, you should be proud that you tried.
Yes.
And I'm sure you learned a lot.
Absolutely. Great, sir. I come to my last question for today. We crossed the 1 hour mark, but I took my liberty with you, sir.
Not a problem. I'm sure you will hopefully edit it to the right time slot. Okay.
Okay. So my last question to you is, how is academia in India positioned today? You feel IITM has the ecosystem to make the students feel that they can do something about the problems around? Is this a model that is replicable to other institutions and other levels like schools, etc.? What is the state of education? I mean, there are too many things here, but the crux is, do you think students today belonging to any institution feel, yes, I'm here now and I'm in the right place to do something about the problems around? What is your feel about? How is academia, bringing it?
So, I mean, there are so many angles to what you asked me, but let me just say the grim thing that is bothering a lot of us, and particularly is bothering the government today also, is that, and for a minute, we'll just take engineering. Okay. Today, probably about 11 lakh engineering degrees are given every year to young individuals. Less than 50% of them get jobs.
Oh,
maybe another 10-15% get jobs which are not, relevant, but still, job is a job. So what do you do with the other 40-50%? Right? And this is accruing every year. It used to be much more before. It used to be 15 lakh kids used to get degrees in engineering. That's come down. So this is an issue that has to worry everybody. What that tells me is that there is not a job waiting for you just because you get a degree.
correct.
Okay. So it is time that you look beyond that and say, can I, find some way, other mechanism. So there is definitely, you have to worry about what to do after you get a degree. Okay. So this is an uncertainty that is piling up. It's a problem that's piling up. The government is doing many things to try to address it. So the education system also has to look at it a little different. we need to create employable graduates.
Correct. Absolutely well said.
What we focus on is we try to imbibe knowledge or information, beholders, and then give them a degree. We do not necessarily teach them how to get a job or how to do a job.
Absolutely.
That is one of the major changes, because today information is available, as I told you, in your palm top.
Correct.
So information has no meaning today at all. It's available in plenty. In fact, over plethora of information available.
Correct.
To you, what can you do with that is more important. The education system has to change dramatically. More so in the last 1 year for what's happening 1 year.
Yes.
The education system should not fight technology. Okay, I'm just like giving one example, and I give this to others. When I went and took my final exam in my 12th standard, and when we also did the JEE at that time, we were not allowed calculators. We had to learn, do things with the, I don't know how many of you remember, the logarithmic tables and the sine tables and the cosine.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah.
Even set square or whatever, that other thing was also not, I never used it. But calculators were not used. Right. Did I use a log table in my life after that? The answer is never.
Yes.
So what was the purpose of me learning how to use a log table when I never am going to use it in the rest of my life?
Very well.
Would it not have been better for me to use calculators, which I've been using ever since?
Correct.
So this is exactly a watershed moment for education today.
Great analogy.
What do I do with AI? Okay, should I fight AI? Okay, or should I just say, guys, use it, because that's what they're going to use when they go out anyway, right?
Yes.
Now show me how you can use it better than anybody else.
Correct.
So that is the first thing so education, how you impart education itself has to be done different, right? You got to go towards what can you do with the information rather than push information inside, right? And that is not easy. How do I? Then the next thing is, how do we examine you?
Correct.
You are now armed with the ChatGPT or whatever. How do I examine you? Do I have the capability to examine you? So these are very fundamental questions that I know that we are starting to grapple with, and probably it will get more difficult as we go along. Right?
Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah. So I think we are in a significant crossroads in education.
Yes.
The future is something that we need to figure out, and I don't know how predictable it is today. And I'm not able to predict it, but the only thing I can predict is that future is where we need to, as I said, be early adopters, rapid adopters, use technology, and try to overcome any inertia that we have towards technology.
As you always said, use it as an enabler. Use it as an enabler.
Just the way calculators help you, the way computers help you, the way everything helps you, the internet helps you. Make sure that you take advantage, make life simpler, and be more productive.
Fantastic. Great words for young minds. So, Professor Krishnan, this has been an extraordinary conversation. The depth of your experience, the warmth of your mentorship, and the clarity of your thinking, is something every founder and every aspiring entrepreneur in this country needs to hear. So thank you for giving us your time, your wisdom, and your stories today on the sales algorithm. Friends, if this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who is building something. Leave us a comment and leave us a review, and pick up your copy of the sales algorithm from Amazon or Notion Press. So until next time, keep selling, keep building, keep growing. I'm Krishnan. Thank you for listening. Thank you, sir.